Well, here it is. As you can see, it has changed a fair bit, especially round the back. Hi there, welcome to the Kenny Veach M-Cave mystery. Today I wanted to present to you the latest updated satellite imagery of both Kenny Veach's former place of living and the M-Cave hike route. I'm doing this to check for any unusual activity, any anomalies that may pop up. Feel free yourself to let me know if you see anything odd, your thoughts, your opinions. Leave comments down below under this video. I can always chat back afterwards and respond. If you are currently hearing this live premiere, welcome. Feel free to share your thoughts and opinions there and discussions in general. If any of you need to catch up on my recent videos or recent short on the Kenny Veach case, top right corner of the screen where the eye symbol is, be sure to click on it and you'll be able to catch up on missed time and videos so you understand where we're at within this case and investigation. In addition, down below there'll be a pinned comment by me with some additional links if you want to support this channel. There are ways to do so. And with that being said, big shout out to Christy in recent time for her support on this channel. Christy gifting memberships to people, very good of her. So the order of how we're going to do things today, we're going to get straight into the satellite imagery. We're going to look at it close, see what we can see, maybe compare with what we know of from the past, and then we can look at some other areas of interest too. And then if there is time, I can always look back at some YouTube comments from last night to respond back to any questions or check for any important information, okay? One thing I do want to highlight as an important disclaimer, we are saying Kenny Veach's former place of living. So it's about taking that into consideration now of how things can change, of course, but also the respect too, because Kenny has moved on in some way or another, right? And on top of it, just also understand that when it comes to the news articles, the official news reports in the past, it does publicly state Kenny Veach's house, location, all of public information. Even the police record states it. Even the NAM-US public database of Kenny Veach states the area. So before anyone throws the toys out the pram, there's a disclaimer, all right? Let's now get into the satellite imagery. Here we are on screen, as you can see, Kenny's former place of living. You'll be familiar with this because in the video yesterday, I did begin here as for a starting point, though I didn't zoom on in because I didn't want to ruin it for this, all right? So we can check for changes. I don't know if it was 3D rendered last time, probably was. I guess some areas are more updated than others when it comes to technology. So you got the house here, obviously no vehicle at the drive at this specific time of when the satellite imagery was taken. You see you got that yard on the side there, which is of a house, I believe. Doesn't look quite developed. Quite a lot of space and land, but not much to it, kind of looks unfinished. But I think even in the past it was quite empty. Arguably in the past there was not even a building there, right? Take in mind, if you're interested in the history of the area, I did do an old video on my channel going through the years, through the time, the 90s and even before that. And you'll notice the drastic change. And speaking of change, the overall building looks virtually the same. Garden part in the front looks a little bit different. Some things missing like the cactus, but that might have already been missing when we last checked. Take in mind that this should be about 2024 satellite imagery, in case you're wondering. Maybe the last time I looked was 23 or 2022. So we go through the years, right? It's on the back where it probably stands out more. Now, I can't remember what it looked like the last time I checked, but you can see there is drastic change, at least when comparing this to Kenny Veach's home video in the backyard. It was a bit unfinished. He had work to do, projects, but there was never a swimming pool or what do you call it, a veranda or something which you could stand underneath or like cover, I guess. Maybe you have a barbecue underneath it. Kind of like this canopy back there as well. Similar. So there has been changes, there have been improvements to the house. I'm aware that Atari did do a video covering the inside of the building once it was up for sale, okay, after Kenny Veach moved on. So if it's still available, you can always check that out yourself. But, you know, I just wanted to have a brief look on the outside. I don't know if there's any change on ground level, but we can check. Take in mind the street view imagery may not be the same date the satellite imagery was taken, okay? But it does look a lot more developed here on the right hand side. You've actually got a building which never was there in the past. On top of it, you've got a newly done fence, so that's all been done up, even a gate as well. So it fills it in a little bit. Not too much change over this way, back there. Mountains in the distance, good view. Speed limit's still there. And then that hedge, I think that hedge was there before, possibly. I don't know why it's blurred out there. If we click again, it's not blurred. See, this is what I'm saying, okay? Because I just want to highlight it. When I was looking at the Idaho 4 case, there was people, strangers, jumping on my channel, basically saying that when it comes to homeowners, they can have privacy, they can opt out for them to be blurred and censored on satellite imagery. Well, if that's really the case, how come more people haven't done it then, right? And as well, my main counterpoint to that is, right, yeah, some areas are blurred out completely. That might explain your argument. But what about what we got on screen right now? What's the point in blurring it out from one angle when from the other, it's not blurred at all? So inconsistency. It's a little bit silly, isn't it? Just in general. Now, we zoom on in. Nothing dodgy going on. Let me just put forwards. But this likely taken around the time of Halloween, so arguably 2023, you could suggest Halloween time, because 2024 it's not come about yet at this moment of making this video. But it does a lot. It looks like the front has been done up. Possibly new gravel has been added on the front. I'm not sure about if those bushes are new or not, but the gravel does look fresh. Maybe it's been overturned slightly. There appears to be some like structure in the middle, held up with some beams, bits of wood, because there's like a tree, a bush growing there, so you use those bits of wood to hold it up so it doesn't fall over or droop. I get that. There would have been some features taken away from when Kenny Veach had it the way he did, right? Some things have been added. Can't remember everything, but I'm aware that there was some cactuses, and especially that big one growing up to there, near to that roof, the porchway. So yeah, you got an ADT. Is that some kind of surveillance burglar alarm of some sort? Why is it on the floor though? Did it fall onto the floor? You got some pumpkins there. You got Mickey Mouse. Is that Mickey Mouse? Well, it's someone. So, without stating the obvious, you can tell that it's probably a family, right? That's all I'll say. So not really much else that shows. You've got the vehicle there. Obviously the license plate is blurred out for, privacy reasons. That's pretty much it here, okay? Just wanted to share it with you. Is that window open? Oh no, it was just the angle of the photo. What is that on the floor though? It's just water. Oh, naughty, naughty. Someone's been littering. Anyway, this is 2023 imagery. And this, if I get it off, should be 2024. Because look, different times taken. The vehicle is not there at that moment. I remember some prat in the past, I think it was called Jacuzzi. A good example of a human that claimed to be an expert in everything, but their attitude let them down and stuff. They claimed to me saying, Warlike Raf, you are aware that this is not taken in real time and live. Oh no, man, how could I even forget? How did I not even know? I should have seen Jason Hills walking up and down the hill like Muhammad Ali and his donkey behind him. As if, okay? Let's get real with it. Now, we don't need any markers on the project today because I think it would get in the way. We're somewhat familiar with the area now. I believe at Frenchman Mountains, let's give a shout out to Frenchman Mountains, because what I do want to say is, whether you agree with it or not, okay, with the previous news some months ago that at Frenchman Mountains there was human skeletal remains found by a hiker out there. Who did it belong to? What about the identity? Has there been an update within the area? Unfortunately, no. Now, if there's anyone who's local or is able to get a hold of certain news, Feel free to provide an update if you can. That will be welcomed and appreciated. But at least from what I've seen, or at least the lack of it, there hasn't been an update, right? Like when it came to the Utah wetland, body being found there, I think I had to type it in differently the second time round for an actual update. If you just type it in how it was, the original article, it only comes up with the old news. So you've got to make changes to how you type in. But I tried different combinations. I did Frenchman Mountains update, Frenchman Mountains body identified, stuff like that. And no update was given. I tried looking on YouTube, no update was given. They said that they were going to do an autopsy. They said they had limited skeletal remains, so it could take longer to identify and confirm the cause of death and who the person really was. But after all this time, nothing has happened or changed. Why is it so quiet? Normally don't they provide a public update? If they've already reported it the first time round, then they should provide an update and bring closure to whoever out there is following the case, right? So as an update to everyone watching right now, it still remains unsolved and a mystery. So could it still apply to Kenny Veach on certain theories and ways of thinking? Yeah, right? It can't be debunked just yet. Now, the other significant part about this place was the environment, the geology, the rocks, how it appeared. I know Harry, I can't remember their full name, but a user on YouTube, a person that watches my videos called Harry, did give a video suggestion and kind of wanted my thoughts on the area with certain marked locations. I will take a look into that when I've got time. I just thought, whilst we're here now, just give a brief heads up in response to that. So I'll do that at some point, Harry, and anyone watching right now, be on the lookout for it. We don't need to look too deep right now at this because we can always return back to it in the future. There we go. What we can look at, though, is the Nellis Air Force Base. Should be able to find it. So I'm just sidetracked by the other stuff within the area. Interesting. I do find it silly, though, how at times, when it comes to certain areas, sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't, sometimes they're named, sometimes they're not. And you think, well, why can't it just remain consistent? You know what I'm saying? Because originally, Nellis Air Force Base had a bloody marker on it, didn't it? There we go. Yeah, it's at an angle over Frenchman Mountains over that way. Has anything really changed from when we last looked? I mean, I think it's really good, just in general, how you're able to get 3D rendered models of aircraft. Like, look at that. You don't even need to go on site or get in trouble. You can just look at it from here. Actual rendered aircraft, 3D rendered. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? So if anyone's interested in this, anyone interested in military aircraft, planes of interest, there you go. We did actually do Area 51 in the past. And you know what the funny thing is? The moment you mention the slight word of Area 51, a Wikipedia article appears under this video as for correct information. What a load of bollocks. You get what I'm saying? Another aircraft there. If anyone would like to identify them or let me know your thoughts on them, feel free to do so down below. But very, very detailed, of course. I know in other areas, you got Jeff Clark talking about the Janet Jets. I remember Adventures with Christian, whatever happened to him. Father and son, Adventures with Christian. Looking at Area 51, looking at the Air Force bases, looking at the Janet Jets coming in and out of Las Vegas, where workers would get on it. Wow, look at that. Look how detailed that, watchtower is. Watchtower. It's really good, that. It's funny how they put lots of effort into stuff like this, but when we're looking at other locations of interest, they never seem to provide it the same. Do you have anything else of interest? Any vehicles? Looks like I've got some vans. Don't think we're going to get any tanks, though. Because this is Air Force Base planes. That's really it. Some fighter jets from the looks of it, missiles underneath. Shame Silverheels isn't here. If Silverheels was here right now, he'll be like, anyway, where's my F-16 fighter plane with my ejector seat to pounce out my ass? I'm going to break back my mountain. Where's that gone? I don't think Jay Silverheels would have a voice break though, so we'll have to work on that. Bit rusty, not done it with time. There's a different fighter jet, very interesting from the looks of it. If people are joining right now and wondering how's this relevant to the Kenny Veach case, well, it is somewhat relevant because Kenny Veach did say that he found the original location of the M cave near to Nellis Air Force Base. Not the test range, but the Air Force Base. And I'm aware that in the US, United States of America, we give false terms and general discussions in places of interest because we all know it. But you know what? When it comes to outsiders, they will be very specific like me and look to this location. I'm aware that more north is the place we should be looking at, but we always make reference to here because of Kenny's descriptions and the body being found over in that way. If you have joined late and you want to know about the body, well, rewind back and then check back to my previous videos, okay? Now, is that a spy plane? Bloody hell, that's a chunky boy. Chunky. I know it's been rendered a bit poorly, that, but damn, look at that. Size of it, the jet engines on the sides. It's pretty impressive. It looks a bit squashed at the back, but that's just because of the rendering. What else do we have here? Ooh, another big plane there. Look at that one. Like one of those cargo ones or so, for carrying equipment, maybe vehicles. It's really good, that. Maybe some of these wouldn't have shown last time. Look at those. All uniformed. Some more there. So they've got a good variety of them, of course. We've got these here. These look like spy planes. I could be wrong. It's got like a mushroom top on the back. Like a radar. Satellite radar system. US Air Force. Really good. Where's J Chuck at? Come on, J Chuck. Let me know your thoughts. Are you quite impressed by the satellite imagery and the quality of it? I mean, it's pretty good considering. Look at those fighters. And then we've got a camouflaged one that stands out. Camouflaged but stands out. Ironic that. A few more there. These are blue coloured. Pointy tip nose. Seems to be some black spots. I don't know if shadow casted or more so spillage of liquid from the planes. Some more fighter planes here. See the missiles, rockets on the sides of the wings. And then, ooh, desert camo. That's nice. Go on, J Chuck, desert dog. Get in one of those right now. Hijack it and fly off. There we go, more. So you almost got like a little museum tour of the place. Free of charge. How lucky. And then it's a bit empty there, and then down at the back we've got more of these big boy planes. Yeah, that's a good amount in fairness, definitely. These are like cargo ones again, FT on the back with the numbers. Yeah, I think they did a good job with rendering most of it. Some trailers back there. So with that being said and done, let's head on over to the hike area to do with Kenny Veach. Will we see anything of interest? Does anything stand out? Now, we did previously look at the Desert Wildlife Refuge Centre in Corn Creek. Don't think noticed much of interest there besides, you know, obviously some visitors. Corn Creek. Has anyone ever gone directly to Corn Creek? This specific area, unfortunately, there's no way to do street view. Do people live here? I guess so. The trailers, you know, the outskirts of Las Vegas, not exactly homeless people, but a bit worse for wear. But then again, in some areas, it looks more like material, like builder's yard almost. See some shacks and sheds, maybe barns, trying to look for RV trailers. Ah, there we go. We got one RV trailer there from the looks of it. So yeah, people do live out there in the outskirts. Scott Natal, fellow investigator in the Kenny Veach case, did say near to a cave. Nothing of interest to that extent, but there was cardboard found in a cave because someone used it as like a homeless shelter or den, and it was the outskirts of Las Vegas. But it wouldn't have been too far into the Kenny Veach hike route because, you know, they wouldn't survive out there. Concrete Visitor Centre. Seems pretty quiet at the time it was taken. Parking just virtually empty, so yeah, not many visitors at the time. Do we have any? Oh, but will it show? Yeah, actually it does. Wow, wow, wow. So this is good to see. People do upload custom photos. I know J Chuck's been here in the past. So you can walk around, you can go inside, look at the nature pathway as well, bridge over there. Not quite sure when this was taken then, but it wouldn't have been that long ago, I don't think. Pond or lake there. Can we go any further? No, we can't. Got some more there, but I think not much difference. Why is there tire marks on the edge of, well, what do you call it? There's a stop sign, vehicle there. I think I might have seen that vehicle in the past, but it went on a bit of a road trip. When you look on the maps. I don't know why the tire marks tracks are so over from the road. Oh my god, was Jay Silverheels trying to run down the logbook again? Decided to go off track. Yeah, go off road and try and crash into all stop signs possible. Nothing's going to stop Jay Silverheels. Not a chance, unless a penguin steps on his foot and incapacitates him. What do you have here? Laugh. Ha ha ha. There you go. Some stickers. Not too much to it, right? So pretty desolate, empty here. You remember the last video that I did, I kind of struggled to find the bloody Joe May Road, and that's because the terrain quality and the colouring of it. It is hard to see. Obviously, if you're driving about, you'll be able to notice it easier. So we've got that there. You've got to follow it back. Lightly coloured. Now, a bit of an elevation when you look at it from down here. You know, down at Desert National Wildlife Refuge. Now, you know what, I'm probably going to do a separate video because I think it gets underappreciated, both from the perspective of what J Chuck documented and some of the people in the past. You look at this road, Joe May Road. Now, I believe it was in 2024, I'm sure, but probably much earlier on. Or is it late 2023? Something's telling me 2024. In between, J Chuck early on went out there hiking and he noticed that Joe May Road was closed all the way down, so you wouldn't be able to make it to the hike area up here. This whole road, Joe May Road, was closed. And when J Chuck was recording it, there was track marks going up, some strange ones. What type of machinery or equipment was taken up there and why? Fast forward onwards, the road was opened again to the general public. But you know what? The road wasn't even fixed. It was in the same state as it always was. No change at all. There's no trees in the area or any obstructions like that could cover the road. Maybe some rocks, possibly, loose ones, but it's not near any mountains where there'll be a rockfall. So what was the point of closing Joe May Road in the past and then reopening it? Seems like a waste of time, to be honest. But it did happen. I just wanted to make reference to it. Seemed to coincide with some strange markings as well. Not so weird, that. Why is it when we're down here, the road like disappears, vanishes, but when up there, it's a lot clearer to see. It's messing with my eyes. Follow it down. Oh, is this why? I think I know what might have happened. Does this mean it was stitched together or something? This is very weird. In some areas it's darker other areas it's lighter, and sometimes the colour change tends to be because they've stitched old and new satellite imagery together at the location. But what I don't get is, it's like a grid, like over that way, that looks outdated. You see the colour difference. So on this side, this could be 2019 to 2023, possibly. This 2024, possibly. This 2022, 23. Different areas all patched together. It's really dodgy looking. And what makes it weird is, here, it's light coloured, and next to it is much darker in colour. Now, I know you can get different coloured rocks, but the ground itself, like the sand and the dirt on the ground, change in colour close to each other. It just seems like it's been stitched together, or it's kind of glitched out, which probably made it a bit confusing as to when trying to find a road. You see the road there. No, you don't, and that's not the road. See the road here. You follow it down, it changes in colour. I think it's probably easier to follow there. And when you get here, you see all those other lines. Here it becomes very obstructed because it almost looks the same to the patterns on the left. Work your way down and you eventually do get back onto this main road, dirt road. But I'd say it's a lot harder to see now. I think for future reference, I'll probably add a marker on that turn where you turn off, because it is a lot harder to see now than it was in the past. It kind of messes with my eyes. So, anything of interest? Would anything truly change? Anything drastic? Well, you think of rocks, you think of weathering, temperature changes, cracks within rocks, things expanding. If there was any earthquakes, shakes, tremors, any kind of change could occur through that. Pitcher Canyon. This part though does look a little bit outdated compared to, well, yeah. Oh, is that so? That's a bit disappointing. I'm just looking now. Once again, the start of it, lighter coloured. Here, very murky colour. So this would be outdated compared to here. Why don't they just update it all? Because they're near to it. They might as well do the whole part, especially if they're flying on over. And why they don't bother? Now, one reference point then, which is no longer there, and I can't pinpoint it specifically, but somewhere in this area, or just before it, before Wagon Gap, there was a spy plane caught on camera in the past. I would have to match it up on satellite imagery, but it was somewhere roughly in that area. You can see a spy plane, and I believe it dates back to 2019 now, so it's not going to remain there through the years, but you see how things can magically be captured on camera. Now, me personally, I'm not expecting to see anything groundbreaking or stand out, but you never know what could happen or what you could find. And we're looking further down here because this seems to be more up to date, the quality. I mean, you got to understand that whilst there is a specific height route Kenny Veach did, don't mean to say he followed it exactly on his final hike out there. And on top, if he has been out in this area in the past, he could have tried different routes, even if it didn't mean going that far. Black Hills Gap. He could have been there at some point in the past. He could have gone to Black Hills in the past. Does it really matter where it's in the past? Well, it does, because if he's got experience with the area, different locations and routes, he could always change it up or refer back to a previous hike he may have done in anticipation hopes of finding what he's looking for, the cave. Wagon Canyon. Unfortunately, I don't think that allows me to check images. Now, just a quick question to people out there. I know some hikers have gone up to Sheep Peak or close to it, hiked up there, camped, etc. You know, some of these canyons. which one was it? Wagon Canyon. You got Dead Man Canyon, but that's just basically the Hidden Forest Trail, Hidden Forest Ridge, where basically it just goes up to a cabin and it's a bit more of a touristy area, right? And there is actual parking, so people do go there. Some have Scott Natal, SB Vegas Adventures, etc. But I do remember some people in the past saying Wagon Canyon needs checking out. Was it checked out? I'd assume so. Because it does look more accessible than some of the other routes which have been done previously. I think Google Earth satellite did get lazy, because look at this, they've got snow here, right? All very green too, but then over here it's very dry, different times of the season taken. You can literally see the line, right? There's all trees in the area. Trees there either not fully developed or dying down through the change of the season, and then here very green and lush, but then here grey. It's definitely gone downhill since when I used to check in the past. It was a bit more consistent with the area. Look at those colours. Gas Peak Road camping area. Familiar by that by now. Gas Peak over here. This was the place Kenny Veach said he hiked at, but he labelled it wrong because he was pointing at the mine shaft towards Sheep Peak East, saying that's where Gas Peak was, but it's not. Gas Peak is back down here, and it is more of a touristy area. And it is closer to the DNWR, and a little bit closer to civilization in a way. Down there you got Rifle and Pistol Rental Centre. Now, unfortunately, one thing that doesn't show are trail cameras. Whoa, that kicks me off. You little bitch. Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't show trail cameras because it'd be very hard to notice them. But I can't remember exactly where it was now. Certain area, certain route that was taken, wasn't it, by Scott Natal when looking for the, well, coming across the Tent and Sword. He went in a different direction. Which way did he go? It was over that way, wasn't it? Somewhere down here, in this area. Oh, look at that there. See, that stands out to me, out of nowhere. A few white rocks, close together. What is it? Anything of interest? Is it white rocks, or could it be a plane, wreckage, scrap? Let me know your thoughts. Might not be anything, but it just stands out. It looks like a collection of stuff. And as well, I don't know if it, well, I believe it was Aqua Chigger, maybe SB documented it as well. Somewhere roughly in the area, there's like rock formation of like a man-made building, rocks piled on top of one another. Does anyone remember that? I wonder if that'll be visible on satellite imagery. Not that it would be 3D rendered, because it's not big enough in scale, but you should be able to make out something. Kind of like how we make out what's on screen here. If anyone is interested in this, whatever it may be on screen, there's the coordinates on the right and left hand side if you're able to see it. Feel free to pause the video if need be. There we go. I believe when you look at maps for too long in one sitting, maybe it does impact your perception, but I'm going slow. I know some people in the past said that they get motion sickness or something when I'm flying about. Get a bit carried away at times, right? Especially when you're onto something or think you are. Now, as for the talk of trail cameras, they are roughly in the area, but not all over. And unfortunately, they seem to be away from where Kenny was hiking, so not like you could use them as a reference. I don't know if they would bother keeping the footage. See, this is what I mean. Are the park rangers responsible for those trail cameras out there? Because if they were, or someone were, because of how tight-lipped they are out there, like when Sean Horlacher went to ask questions about the covered-up cave and Kenny's disappearance, and didn't really say much, they didn't really help. So if there was actual trail cam footage of Kenny Veach in the area, and it could have revealed what happened to him, do you think that the people, the park rangers, the DNWR, would actually assist or help at all, or not? Maybe they would if the police got involved, because they'd have no choice but to follow. But I think that would be a bit awkward. And that's the problem with the Kenny Veach case. Of course, you get the awkward people online and the critiques and the strangers and the idiosyncratic, bombastic individuals, but people directly in the case or in real life in the area haven't always been of much help. Search and rescue, somewhat tight-lipped. Park rangers, tight-lipped. Las Vegas Police Department, Metro Police Department, a little bit reluctant at times. Cold case. Well, I think they said it reopened again, but not really seen or heard much since. And we've got Rye Patch Spring. Don't know if that's something that would show up in photos. Probably not, because you don't really get any custom uploaded photos either. Cow Camp Spring. There you go. Now, wasn't there another name? I don't know if it comes up as for a name. Denman Canyon. There was a certain named location, and I thought I would read it out because of my pronunciation. But I don't know if it comes up or not on screen. Maybe I would have to type it in myself. But just one for Jeff Clark. Somewhere in the area, I'm not going to type it in because I don't need to. Somewhere in the area, you have Cow Corral. Okay, there you go. Hopefully that satisfied people there. Not much change going on from the looks of it. Not much being revealed, visible. It's kind of blurry and patchy in some areas. To be honest, you look back at 2016 imagery, it's a lot clearer about them. Scott Natal said this was the area where the tent and sword was found, the rock formation. I was told by some of the people that I was wrong, but for the actual hiker to go out there and say that I was right, well, that should mean something at least. And I know Jeff Clark's comment recently said probably best not refer back to it anymore. But then, if we neglect it, cover it up, that'll cause more questions when strangers come along and wonder why it's been silenced. I understand the implications it can have if it is talked about, but surely if it's balanced. Now, I believe Jeff Clark, I was in the area down here last time and I said somewhere in this area was where that cave, what you found. And take in mind, I've not seen your emails yet, Jeff Clark, because I've not had time to look at them. But when I do, I'll look at your description again. I think at the time, really early on back then when talking about it, I was just roughly in this area, wasn't I? It's about a ravine or going up. Well, to be honest, as an example, it goes up there on the side. Ooh, I hate it when it does that. Some ridges there. Not sure if it was up here or so. I'm sure SB did a live stream video on one of the peak parts in recent time. I think you might have another upcoming video scheduled, so be on the lookout for that, to do with, I think, was it called Beyond Picture Canyon? I don't know where he actually went. It's a shame that, maybe in time, if there is more evidence or some kind of material found to highlight going north 45 miles, if it's safe to do, if there's another way to access or get to the place, then it'd be worth looking into. I think there is some unfinished business 45 miles north onwards, because I'm sure there was an old comment. Someone reached out to me and said, check these coordinates out. So I will have to try and look into that. But it looks like here, once again, lower down it changes in colour. So either outdated or more up to date. It'll be more up to date probably. Yeah, complete colour change. It's messing with the mind, some kind of mind control going on. Oh no. Quick question as well. Do you know when it comes to really Robin, where he was up one of the canyons back on this side, on the wrong side of where everyone else was going? As significant as it was trying to find it eventually and nail it on the head, I believe. Well, I think Jeff Clark came to a conclusion, but DJ Moore solving it too, possibly. But nevertheless, on this side, going up with the canyons, why did really Robin go to the wrong place? Was it intentional or was it an accident? And what was the plan for Robin out there? What did he set out in doing? Locating Kenny, locating the cave, and upon not finding any of the two, how did he feel? Was there any motivating factor to go out there again and try, or not? And while some people can say really Robin was dodgy, okay, let's put this in perspective. If really Robin was dodgy or some kind of detective or working for police, working against Sean Horlacher, trying to get information out of him, get information of Jeff Clark by inviting him to a diner, but Jeff said no to that. If Robin was some kind of secret informant, all that. Okay, I can understand wanting to do an interview with someone, have conversations online, get the latest scoop information out of somebody, but why would you put yourself out there in the open? If Robin was a dodgy, suspicious person, supposedly, why would he go out of his way to hike in the area? For what? To search for the glory himself, to solve the case himself, or to plant something? Or did he just simply go out there to record his journey to make himself look legitimate, right? I'm out there, I'm boots on ground, I'm the real thing, and that would generate trust within him, or people would trust in him, right? Instead of just some everyday person online talking a lot, if you've actually walked the walk and recorded it as proof, then people may be more likely to listen, respect you, and communicate and cooperate. And then you could build a rapport with people and get information out of them and stab them in the back later. I want to know your thoughts. Jeff Clark, like when you mentioned about, if Kenny Veach was staging anything, would he really bother going on an entire hike in his recorded video and holster that gun on the side of him, which would be very uncomfortable? In the mindset, Kenny knowing that what he's doing is fake and staged, but he's going to put himself at discomfort to prove it to people. Is that likely for that? Probably not. So with that being in mind, is it likely that if Robin is a dodgy person, suspicious in the case, why would he go out of his way to hike and cover that distance where he went, all for nothing and in the wrong area? Was he genuine at first and then he turned dark, or was he dark from the beginning? Let me know your thoughts there. And as well, with that really Robin secondary account, which is presumed to be a fake impersonation, who's behind it? Do they have an agenda against the real really Robin or not? Unanswered questions may have never been mentioned before, so I thought, let's do it now. Because, when I'm looking at these maps, each location can tell a story of what's happened, what could happen, something from the past, what I remember seeing with investigators, hikers, and then it can generate questions and answers as we go along. So whilst this is a map analysis and satellite imagery, there are some important questions along the way, and if anyone can answer them, that would be great. So I believe that there isn't quite time to look through the comments today, but what I will acknowledge, there have been some new ones since making this video. So I'll just let it build up a little bit, take in mind not all comments show in videos because people post after I've recorded them, and sometimes I've recorded earlier on. So things differ from time to time, and time zone difference as well. But I think depending how this goes, this video itself, I could always just do a general discussion video, looking at comments, maybe a Q&A, right? answering some comments, looking at some information, right? It seemed to work quite well within the Dylan Rouse case, and it just, sometimes when it gets a bit too heavy or deep with what we're looking at visually, or some of the information, can always slow down a bit and do some more casual videos, because really any coverage on the Kenny Veach case is important and necessary, because it helps keep the case alive in the search terms, in discussions, and brings in people with time, right? Not every video may be as attractive, but there's some standout discussions. And what I've learned with time, even last night, I believe I'm making this video now, what I've done today, because of last night's video. It generated ideas on the go, right? So be on the lookout for more Kenny Veach videos. Of course, you want to check out some other interesting ones, top right corner of the screen, click on the eye symbol. You'll be able to locate it there. Thanks for watching. Appreciate people's patience. Goodbye. Good night for now.